And oh shit, forgot to cue the music. Woo! Hey, May 18th. Had to think about that for a second. Joseph Sunderman here, Creative Tech, and we are excited. We have a great episode for you today. We spent a lot of time this morning putting it together. Let's go ahead and welcome our boy, Cole Chase. Cole, how we doing today?
Good. Glad to be back. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here, but
yeah, I've been making me fly solo.
I know. I feel bad. I really did feel bad. But hey, one day when you can't make it, I can pick up the slack for you. So.
Well, hopefully, that's nice knowing that. Hopefully that doesn't have to happen anytime soon. But if it does, it's better to have it happen while we're in a state of development like we are right now. So, today's session is going to be on tech tools. Not so much like today's tech tools, but tech tools in general. We're going to talk about actually over the centuries. We're going to kind of talk about the history of tech tools, the evolution over time with mankind. We're not going to go back too far. We're not starting at Stone Age or anything like that. We're going to start from the 1600s. So don't worry, nothing too crazy. But still, we're going to have a little discussion about the evolution of technology. We're going to get into how innovation happens, what causes innovation, and how innovation is able to be more, I guess, how do you rear and foster innovation and make it more capable? We'll talk about those things and get rid of things that limit your innovation with yourself and with the workplace. And we'll also talk about the influence on tech tools, how they influence society and everything. So that's the conversation around tech tools. Cole, what do you think? Does that sound like a
good, like a great show to me?
All right. I love it. So before we get into all that, what is Sessions? You may be asking yourself if you've never been here before. This is our 11th episode of Sessions. And what Sessions is our way to practice our marketing for our bigger ventures that we have going on. So this is kind of a science experiment, shall we call it. What we're doing is we're taking our knowledge and our learnings for what we know we need to do on the business side, and we're taking that and we're practicing our marketing and our talking to an audience and building that out with the creative tech. But that's not all for naught. This all is going towards building a great community as my business grows and we get a bunch of people behind it. The creative tech channel should be creating a whole tribe full of people that would make great creative techs for Icora and the Master Tech Plan and everything that it's going to do. Hopefully have some kind of impact like we're going to talk today with some of these people. I don't think I'm no Elon Musk or Benjamin Franklin here, but I do feel like I'm one of the people that would work on one of the teams for one of these people and make great things happen for the world to say behind. Anyway, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and do a little catching up here. Again, this is our 11th episode. I kind of gave you guys a little bit of a high view of what Sessions is. We have a main focus with 3 topics, and that's how we're practicing this. That's one of the practice we have at the business. So we're taking that, practicing that here and having conversations. And we can dive into more of that as the community and the tribe, as it evolves over time. So hopefully you stay tuned, watch the Delta from now until 50 episodes in. Hopefully you see a big growth there. That's the point of Sessions. And last 2 weeks, I was flying solo, like Cole said. But we try to have all 3 of us here. We're just a group of people in Cincinnati and Dayton area that love creating stuff. And this is my idea to create the creative tech tribe. But these guys are nice enough to come along because it's not like they have anything better to do, right?
True. That's true. You're not wrong there.
So last week's session was over modern workforce. Again, my mission is to become the authority, to create a business that is the authority in helping workforces transition into what we call the modern workforce. And we talked a lot last week on what the modern workforce is and what that means. So let's go ahead and now that we've explained that this is the 11th episode and did our little recaps of last week and what Sessions is, I need to get better at doing all that. Hopefully a year from now when I say that, it's done in a nice little tight way that gets all that out without losing people 10 times. Cole, what do you got going on? Let's hear about these. One of the things that we do here is objectives and matters, and we're going to talk about that more because it's something that I've learned that it's part, just like sessions is part of the business. We'll bring that over here. Objectives and matters is part of what we do with Ikora, and we're bringing that into the show too. So objectives are projects. Cole, what objectives, both internally and externally, do you have going on right now? Focused on internal first. What projects do you have going on? Your video show that you have going on, things that you're doing.
Yeah, so I'm dropping my next YouTube video tomorrow morning. I'm just going over my peripherals that I've been using. I recently upgraded from using Razer peripherals, mouse, keyboard, and I'm just ditching that whole gaming aesthetic and going with, I guess if you watch tomorrow's video, you'll see what peripherals I'm using. So I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, but that's a little plug-in. We'll make sure we put a link to it. Yeah,
there we go. Good idea. And then, other than that, I am trying to do some yard work out back, replace my deck. So I got to look into that. I'm not too much of a handsy person, so getting some help from my dad and maybe some other family members on that. But yeah, those are pretty much some of my main internal goals I got going on. It's been a couple busy weeks with work. I'm working on a couple exciting projects, a cannabis grow facility here in Ohio that's just started taking off. I'm doing the electrical design for that. So pretty extensive on the design for that, some weekly calls with the clients, and really exciting stuff from my normal work, usually doing grocery stores and healthcare facilities. So out of curiosity,
I know you probably can't talk about the growth facility much as far as client, like I'm sure there's certain things that you can't discuss, but can you tell us, is the electrical that's being installed at this facility, are we doing any like really cool high-end stuff and things that you can see in what you're doing that you're like, oh wow, this is really cool, innovative stuff? Or is this pretty much a basic job?
So for me, the majority of the technological advancements I'm trying to look at for them is within the lighting controls and scheduling. They do already have at their existing facility a smart app that kind of controls their lights, that sets up their light schedules depending on what room you're in. However, there is a couple limitations there. So right now with my design, I'm really trying to come up with a smart solution that'll allow us to actually put all of the lighting on the generator in the case of a power failure, whereas right now they can only have a certain number of circuits, dedicated circuits on that generator. So for me, I'm trying to enable them to constantly have coverage in case power would go out. So that's my main thing. Lighting controls is what I'm working with on the client there, kind of seeing if they want to keep what they have, which I'd prefer to go with something new. But yeah, it'll be, I think, over 10 flower rooms, pretty crazy stuff. We're talking huge electrical services here for this, and then potentially more on the way. So,
well, that's awesome. Well, thank you for that. And I know Will's not here to bring us up to speed with his objectives, but I do know that on his internal side, which is like projects you do for you and yourself, he had a bunch of yard work that he had to get done. I called him one day last week, and I've never seen the man not in a hoodie. First, that's I may have seen him in a t-shirt once or twice, but typically he's in a hoodie. And B, I think he was actually in a tank, and he is the palest, whitest guy I've ever seen, which I thought was really funny. And I need to give him shit for that, because I'm sure he gets shit for it himself. But anyway, I give him shit for fun. It's not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. Calm down, everybody. And then I know on the external side, he's really excited because he just landed a gig for shooting for Slipknot. I guess they're tour guys out, and they found his stuff online. And another prime example to why you, as a creative tech, if you're not putting your work out online and letting people know what you do, how are they supposed to find you? The band is coming through the area. They went to Instagram and started looking around for people that, shoot concerts and stuff around the area. And because of Will's grind and him putting out there, this show, that show, I shot this show, check out this show, look at a great time with this artist, have me back anytime, I'd love to shoot for you guys. They seen him on his grind and reached out to him, no questions asked, and said, hey, you got the job, can you do it? Absolutely. So again, how do we get opportunities? How do we grow? How do we, by us working with Will, he could get a potential where, hey, would you like to shoot a video for one of these, potential clients. And yeah, that's how it happens. So really good stuff going there for me. This is a project of mine. It's going well. We do have the definition for the creative tech, which I believe I had it pulled up here earlier while we were chatting, but I know we talked about a lot. I done changed my screen. Let me find it again. I'm going to put it up on the screen just because, why not? Oh, come here, you. And I know I talked about this a little bit last week's episode as well, but here you see, and Will, since you're here, I don't think, I finished this up last week. I want to get your take. What do you feel about this as being the definition for the creative tech?
Let me, I know you texted it to us a couple weeks back. I read it. We got creative tech, a noun. Okay. Professional champions the modern workforce paradigm, empowering individuals and their respective brands with contemporary leadership skills and digital solutions to ensure consistency across all identities. I like that. It's very strong. I know you've kind of messed around with the definition quite a few times. You've had a lot of ideas. I think some of the earlier ones were pretty long, maybe a couple sentences longer than this one. So it's nice to see this new definition is very clear and concise with it. And I think that's the biggest improvement I've seen with your changing up of the definitions and, just trying to figure out exactly what it means to be a creative tech. So I really like this definition. I think it's pretty spot on, especially with a lot of the items that you're trying to get to. So I think that definition is great.
Yeah, and you know what? I look at this, and I know that this has been up there since May 11th, which has been a full week. Finished it up apparently a couple hours before the show. And I know only 10 people have seen this. And it's funny because my wife asked me this morning while we were getting around. She said, "So how's the show coming, baby? How many people do you have now?" I mean, what do you mean by how many people? Like, well, how many people do you have watching your shows? And I said, well, I'm expecting none for the next year. And she said, what do you mean none? Like, aren't you supposed to be growing? I was like, we're growing exponentially. She's like, well, then why don't you have viewers? I was like, well, I guess if that's how you count your growth on users, sure, I wouldn't want to subscribe and watch the channel that we have right now with the way things are going. But I know in due time, a year from now, we'll probably be much closer to being a show that I would subscribe to. So I'm not going to sweat over it until I see the growth happen to where I would want to subscribe and watch us, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have that same mentality that, once I get to a certain place, maybe I know certain things, then I'm able to actually speak on that topic. So I can put YouTube videos out there. Once I've done this project, now I have some type of credibility. But the biggest thing is, even once you get that credibility and then you say you're ready internally to actually start doing things like putting out a YouTube channel.
Nobody's seeing that delta. Nobody's seeing that growth.
And that's what people want to see. I mean, I love finding a YouTuber, maybe binge watching 2 or 3 videos and then going back and looking and like, oh my gosh, he's been posting videos for 5 years, or she's been posting videos for 5 years. And you can kind of still see a lot of consistencies, especially if you're just browsing, you see thumbnails and I'm like, okay, yeah, you've kind of held on to this aesthetic for maybe the past 4 or 5 years. But now looking at your most recent videos, like, you've got it nailed down. And if they would have waited until they have 5 years experience being a cinematographer, or maybe they're a tech influencer, then they'd be starting all over again and no one would see that delta. And a lot of people love being an early adopter, being one of those OG subscribers or fans. So it's really exciting to see. I mean, I love stumbling upon a small YouTube channel and thinking to myself, saying, wow, this person's really going to get somewhere in a couple of years, because I already see that they're putting out quality content. And right now we're kind of in the middle grounds. I mean, I think we've improved even in the past 11 episodes. Like, my confidence on camera, as opposed to day one, I was like nervous to talk. Now things are going better, not great, but they're definitely better than they were. So I can see the benefit of it, even if the viewers aren't going up. So that's not even the most important thing for us.
Yeah, I'm not even focused. Like, don't get me wrong. If somebody was in here and they were saying, hey, how's it going? I like what you guys are doing. Keep it like even that, like, I would want to engage with that person and be like, because I'm very thankful. And I feel like even when we get to whatever size. Hey, moderator team, like, listen, these people that are reaching out to us and asking questions, they're everything to us. They are the reason why we were able to monetize and get to the point where we're truly helping people. So treat everybody, because those questions and those interactions are what helped get us here. And now that we're here, that's no means to stop. We hired all of you because it's important. Get out there and make the Creative Tech proud, make the tribe grow, make us solid.
Yeah.
So we have our mission, we have our purpose. All this is the Creative Tech. We know where we're headed. We're here to help everybody deal with objectives and matters in a very frameworked and clear way, so that way we can live with intent and know what we're going after. So let's just dive into today's focus in the first topic. So the focus for me today is tech tools. And when I say tech tools, I'm talking generalized tech tools. We all have laptops today, but back in 1600, we didn't have tools like this. And it's crazy if you think about the way we live now, how we have a cell phone in our pocket. And even when we see a 12-year-old kid and they don't have a cell phone, you're like, why don't you have a cell phone? That would have been absurd 10 years ago. 20 years ago, to think of everybody even having a cell phone was absurd. So I guess what I'm saying is as these times change, as this happens, what did that look like? Because that same shit happened in 1600, 1700, 1800, 1900. That all was happening well before this millennium. So I guess, off the top of your head, and remember, we got to stay focused and on the topics here, because I'm going to show some stuff, but just a quick answer. On top of your head, what kind of technology and tools do you think they were using in 1600 that was so paramount?
Man, 1600s? Gosh. I think one thing I think about a lot is shipbuilding. The fact that they were able to navigate the open ocean from continent to continent. We won't get into the whole.
I think that was well before 1600s, but I get where you're going with it. I'm trying to think here, because I did have this conversation earlier. Let me go ahead and pull up. Let me find my conversation I was having earlier here with AI. Yeah, here we go. Let me share my screen again. Let's go back to this guy here. So, by the way, if you haven't already, if you're on Mac, download the GPT app. It's crazy that you can take a screenshot and highlight it and ask it questions about the screenshot. With it being on your machine, the copying and pasting into documentation, the formatting is solid. And I know it's going to come to Windows. I know that I don't think it's going to come to Windows quite the same, though. I think it's going to come through Windows through the form of Copilot, which is cool too. But bottom line is I love this technology. It's amazing. And as we were playing with it earlier, or I should say, I came up with this little graph here. Well, I didn't. AI did. It's not exactly accurate the way it plotted everything. I think we didn't have electric cars unless he started developing them in 1990 something, and that's when they first started. Maybe that is true. I'd have to go look it up. AI development, Altman, in the 2010, somewhere in there. I don't know if this is somewhat true, but let's go back here. Telescopes, astronomy. Those were the things in the 1600s and I'm sure there was advancements in ships, because ships were innovative at the time, but we're talking way back in Viking times, right? We're going way back. Whereas in the 1600s, and I'm not much of a history buff. I'm looking at the technology of these times. And I think the telescope's a great representation because of the things they were doing. And communications back then, I was asking AI about communications. Let's go up here. So when I asked it about communications in 1600, that must have been a different conversation. Damn it. It was over here, but I'm not going to go back and find it. Bottom line is, I was wanting to know what kind of things did they do communication wise in the 1600s? What was the technology like back then? What was the things like Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Steve Jobs. Who were the people of these times in the 1600s, and what was the technology that was the craze? We get in the 1700s, improved steam engines and trains coming into play. Benjamin Franklin with electricity and starting to get things moving in that direction, with the line. Then the 1800s, we get, telegrams by coming up with the, the little, what's that called? The system, the Morse code. Yeah, so we got Morse code and put that over a line. Then we had the transatlantic line that was laid, the very first one that gave us instant communications between the UK and the US, where we could literally give a message and they could write it down. Imagine what it was before that. And imagine in the 1800s in those ships laying that copper line from the US under the ocean all the way to the UK in the 1800s with the tools and the technology in it. Do you think they had cranes? Do you think they had shit like that back then?
And think about that too. If we're going even further.
Well, again, but if we look at technology and how it helps mankind over time, and we look at how we started taking this jolt of energy from a lightning strike or from getting shocked by carpet and seeing that concept, how can we start harnessing that energy to today, how we harness it? I mean, I can carry around a 10,000 milliamp battery with a few, chemicals and metals in it that will charge and last enough electricity for, my laptop to run for a day and charge it twice. Like, what the fuck? Science, magnets and rainbows, and how's that shit work? Getting deep here, everybody. But no, if we look at the picture like this, telegrams and everything into the 1800s, and then we get into the 1900s where it gets more sophisticated, and we end up getting print. Print becomes a thing, and we start making mass production of copy and documentation. Then we get printers, and now we get internet, and now we have the World Wide Web where we're printing pictures on a screen where we don't have to print on paper anymore, and now paper goes away because it's all on screens everywhere. Like, you can kind of see how things are going, and that's why I like this picture that I came up with. I was like, I wonder if this would give me a cool little come here, you. Are you not going to open up for me now? Well, that's weird. This one worked just fine, didn't it?
Yeah, the other one showed up.
Well, ain't that some bullshit? I got it right here in the folder here. So I asked AI, I was like, take that concept we just talked about from the 1600s all the way up to today's times with technology and make me some kind of roadmap that shows that growth over time and the technology. And I love how it has, if you look at the steps here, and this is the technology I use to come up with a way to explain itself to me from the shit I'm doing with this. Like, and I know everybody's playing with AI in their own little sci-fi ways, but it's crazy. I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. But I love how I think AI is trying to tell us something.
You want to add it to the stage so we can see it?
Oh my God, I'm not showing my screen.
There we go.
So I got the steps here. It's going all the way up here. And then when we get up here, do you think AI is trying to tell us something? I want to know what's in the void. And I really do like this orange and teal look, like that cinematic orange and teal look right here. And then we have the Ikora purple up here. I think it knows me more than it knows me. Or than I know that it knows me. Something along those lines. Anyway, enough around this conversation. So, the evolution of technology. Did we hit that? Did we not? Did we know? I feel like we talked about it. That's what I was trying to get accomplished here. just having the conversation around the evolution of technology and how it got up to this point today, where we have the worldwide internet, we have cars that drive themselves. And that's another thing. Like, if we had hours just to focus on the evolution from 1600s up to today, we could just do a whole segment on that. That would be really cool. But again, we have more to talk about here. We'll talk about tech tools in general. What was the guys using in the early, like 2000? Remember, 1999, they were afraid that none of the clocks in the systems, because the way things were programmed, knew how to handle going over from 1999 to 2000 and having 2 zeros at the end. Would that break the systems? You're probably too young to remember.
I was 3 years old, but I've definitely heard about it. I mean, it's definitely been brought up quite a bit, 2000s, things are going to go crazy. All the computers are going to shut down. Everybody was scared. At least that's what I heard. I obviously was 3, so I don't have any.
You was only 3 years old, and you know how old you're making me feel right now, you asshole. Fuck you, Cole.
Damn. I mean, you were probably my age then, maybe.
No, I was 19 when that happened.
19, so yeah, you were a little bit younger. But what do you think? I mean, in high school, you never had a cell phone in high school, right?
Oh, fuck no. Listen, when I was in middle school, I remember in 6th grade, maybe it was 7th grade, I was 13. So yeah, I think I was in 7th grade at 13 because I was behind. And I remember going to the library, and you had to sign up for it. And I remember the first day I went to sign up for it, there was like 6 people ahead of me. That means I had to wait 2 days because you only had so much time in your library time. And you got yourself 15 minutes with the computer that was the first computer in our town that had internet, that was publicly accessible to the kids. Like, we could go to the library in our middle school, and you could sign up to get 15 minutes with it. The first 5 minutes was the fucking little dial tone noise.
Yeah.
And once it connected, you could. And I remember I had a Korn DVD or Korn CD that had a music video on it. And I remember putting that CD in there. I got in trouble because you're not supposed to open the CD drawer on the thing, but I did anyway. Because I wanted to see, because there was something special on this Korn DVD, and I put it in, and I got to see a Korn video, which was so pixelated. So it came up on this tiniest little fucking window, and you could barely see it. And it was the coolest fucking thing ever. It was like a fucking 180p fucking video. I'm talking just super small. Like, when it was like this big on the screen, you could see everybody, but if you made it full screen, it just fell apart. It was big blocks. But nonetheless, yeah, we didn't even have internet in middle school. Now kids are going to middle school with smartwatches and phones. Again, it's always going to change. And I'm telling you, people that stay ahead of the curve, people that stay in the know, the creative techs of the world, they don't fall behind. They don't starve during a crisis, because we are useful people. We can solve problems, and we can get things done. And we, not only are we good with technology, but it takes more than that to be a creative tech. A creative tech is somebody that makes shit happen. So, with all that being said, I want to take a moment to take a break off of the focus and topics, and let's talk about the community for a second, because we got a few things we're going to do this week with the community. I'm going to start sending out the worksheet to everybody, and I want to take a moment to talk about the worksheet on this session here. So let's go ahead and go back to sharing, because sharing is caring. All right, let's go to the creative technologies, shall we? And everybody, if you haven't seen it before, we have this. In fact, when we very first started the creative tech, this was the very first thing we started working on. I want to start having this database full of people that embody the creative tech mindset, that embody the modern workforce and understand modern leadership, contemporary work space methodologies. Anyway, so we have our friend Cole Chase in here, which, Cole, I know you have some stuff to fill out here, put in here. In fact, it's kind of cool now. If you look here at this John Doe, these last few ones down here, this Testes McMillan from Harrison, Ohio. So many great things, mostly my swagger, my guys and gals, even though that, okay, I don't know what the fuck, I was probably a little high. These are dummy things I put in to the form that we have. And as you fill out the form, so let's go ahead and try it out for everybody. Let's go to the form. Forms.microsoft.com. And part of the creative tech is that we use Microsoft on the back end to do everything. And honestly, if you don't know how powerful and awesome Microsoft 365 is, you should get a session with me and start right away, because that shit is where it's at. Anyway, let's go ahead and let's preview it. Let's go ahead and try it out. So I'm going to put your shit in here if that's okay with you, Cole.
Go for it.
Cole Chase. What's your preferred nickname, asshole?
Cole works.
Cole.
No, we'll do Cole at we'll do a different one. At
Cole at
pretty iffy oh.com. The pretty iffy domain was taken, so I have pretty iffy oh. There we go. Damn
them assholes. I already got this. I don't need that right now. Cincinnati. No, you're not in Cincinnati, are you? Where are you at?
Dayton.
What is your primary areas of interest that you want to bring to the creative tech community?
No wrong answers here. Okay.
You know what? You should be filling this shit out.
I did already. Can you go look at my form? There we go. That works.
You can change these answers later, my friend. Nope. If you did say yes, you see how it gives you a place to put a link, but we're just going to say no for now. Do you love what you do, or is this a stepping stone? Are you unsure? Do you love what you do for your professional side of things right now, or is it a stepping stone?
We'll put somewhat.
Yes, you somewhat love what you do, but it is somewhat of a stepping stone. Okay.
Yep.
Does your current career job allow you to exercise your creative tech capabilities?
I'd say yes, for sure.
Absolutely. How do you see the creative tech supporting the modern workforce? By helping the goat be more goat-ish. All right. Smells funny. All right. Next, can we use your shit online? Yes or no?
We'll go with yes.
You're so nice.
My data, is that what you're doing? Is this a data farm?
So once we collect that data in our data farm, we take that, and if we look over here at our list here, if I refresh this page real quick, oh my god, look, there's a goat here. Yup. By helping the goat be more goatish. And it smells funny. So as you can see, as people fill this out, it completes this form. Automatically puts them in here, right? So I need to delete these guys. And that didn't take me long to set up, and I can show people how to set shit like that up. Like, I'm not going to have a sessions show on showing somebody how to set that up. That would be like a like an actual training video where I set up like how to create a form and then set up a list. So that way when someone fills out the form, it automatically puts that information in a list. And then when somebody submits this, Cole, what I can do, I'm going to delete these ones that were tests from the other day. I'm going to edit this in grid view so that way I can take the picture from Cole Chase. I wonder if I can just paste it in here. Nope. I don't know where I got your picture. I don't have to find it someplace. But anyway,
I uploaded it.
Yeah, I can put your picture over here. Because in order for me to allow people to upload a picture of themselves into the form, they have to be part of my organization through Microsoft Forms. I'm not doing that. I could make it to where they sign up first and then they can go ahead and upload things, but I'm not doing that. That's too much work right now. I don't have a platform, and we're too small. Like if this takes off, we start getting some traction and we start getting enough people, then we'll invest money into building out an actual platform for people to sign up and do shit like that. I can manage the picture for now. Because if they put in here that they have a YouTube channel or something, then that's when we take their picture from their YouTube channel and put it here. We want to use whatever they have out there, right? And that way I can hire somebody at some point just to, hey, go through and just make sure that Chris Doe, all of his information is still the same across the board. Maybe he's updated. Maybe he has a different picture he likes to use now as his main picture. We want to be respectful of their current relevant identity. So get that updated here. And by getting everybody around us to work and be focused on identity and how that's important to understand, so that way when you make decisions for your objectives and matters, how that helps you get to your mission. Like understanding that mind work and that framework and get people to work and live that way, that alone is the creative tech mentality. So, yeah. All right. So this is where this is at. I'm going to send out a link. Everybody will get a link. If they get the link on their phone, when they open it up, their shit will look like this. This is how the form will look. You just go through this. It only takes a few minutes. I know there's 4 or 5 pages and there's like 20-something questions, but it only takes a few moments. Go through it, get it done, and get added into the Creative Tech database. We're going to keep the database cleaned up and go over it through the shows. If somebody says no, they don't want their information showed up, I have to create another column in here. Where are we at? Where's my form? My list. Here we go. I got to add another column in here that says, are they, do they consent to their information being seen, while we're live? So I'll come up here and create a view, and I'll have a column that sorts, people said yes versus no. If they said no, I can create a view that hides everybody that said no. That way, as we're doing the show, none of them show up. We're only showing the ones that said yes. And we can go through here and tweak the data and review it, compare it to other people, and see if everything is laid out right. What are your thoughts on all that, Cole?
I think it's exciting to be able to see everybody's profile, get an idea of who they are as a person, what their interests are. And it's just a quick and easy way instead of, if we have the Facebook group is nice, but you're going to have to click on someone's profile, go and look at, do they share who their employer is? Do they have their post public? You're not really going to get a sense of who they are before you reach out to them if that's something you want to do. So having that database there kind of gives everyone a chance to introduce themselves, give an idea of what they do professionally or what they want to do professionally. Not everyone's where they want to be at. So they can kind of put in there, what help they're looking for possibly, or what types of personal development or professional development they're really looking for. So
absolutely. And as we get good at having people fill out the form and reviewing the data and displaying the data to people, that will get people more interested in contributing to it as well. So, all right, that's enough talk around all that. Let's see here. We got the Creative Tech group. Well, again, it's a Facebook group. We like to. Have I talked to you about the tribe? I think that was a couple weeks ago. I don't think you were here for that either. When I said I was talking to you about a month ago, saying we started the Creative Tech community. I don't feel like community quite aligns with it. I'm thinking of using the term network because network aligns better with Creative Tech. Network is better than community in that sense, because network is, IT networks, blah, 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 blah. But as I was getting ready to make all that change and talk about it on the show, as I was preparing for the next show, I heard about tribes and how tribes really help each other. Tribes don't do the give-take mentality type framework. They do the give to make the tribe better mentality framework, and I love that. So I said it was an easy scratch community and network. We're going with tribe. What's your thoughts on tribe?
I think it helps with kind of you think creative tech, you think technology, you think 21st century, you think all these AI tech tools. Then if you hear the word tribe, it kind of takes you back to where did it all start? Where did the essentially, humanity, where they started tribes or groups. However, what the terms have been across the years, I think tribe is one that people really associate with a close-knit community, a group of people that are helping each other. This isn't a society that's trading and bartering with each other. This is a tribe that acts as one, as opposed to individuals contributing to a certain society. It's a tribe is just a group of people with one common goal: make the tribe better, make the tribe stronger. And everything they're doing is to help the tribe rather than a me, me, me mentality. So I really like the idea of doing tribe as opposed to community or network, because a network, you think network is your net worth, is what a lot of people say. And they look at it as like me. What can my network do for me to make me better? Or, maybe what you can do to help others. But when you think tribe, it kind of takes you back to the roots of groups of people and how they all came together with one common goal and hopefully accomplished it. So I really like the word tribe for that mentality there.
Yeah, and for the type of community that we're wanting to build here, a very niche. We're not your typical, professional that just shows up to the office and does it 9 to 5. We're aware of our surroundings. We're aware of how we affect our surroundings, and we are out there to do bigger and better things. Whereas a lot of people that just want to do their 9 to 5, go home and relax and just live their life and call it a day. We know that being in creative tech and doing this drive is going to get us to live and experience some of the most amazing things that people will get to talk about in their dreams. They don't get to live them because it's scary. It takes you out of your comfort zone to be able to get to a place to where you can be able to take on the stress and the amount of you have to learn what's important. And when you start to build something big, you truly start to put something that you're putting thousands of hours into, where you're truly building something. A lot of people will build something for a little bit and then they try to get what they can out of it. And you can't grow. However far you work on it, that's how far you can grow. So if you fucking grow and build strong, you get this way, and then you go to monetize, you can go so much stronger, because it's the way it's done. So your efforts, if you just put a little bit of effort into something, you'll get a little bit of reward. But if you put a lot of effort into something, you'll get a shit ton of reward. And that's why we say, what's your mission? Because you find that thing to put focus on, and you start, everything you do is around that. And that mission that you chose is because you're passionate about it, something that you align with. Oh, fucking hey. So we want to be I call that the modern workforce, the modern mindset for the people that want to, join this tribe, because they see that the only way to make things happen is to start associating with those around them that make shit happen. All right. So that's community discussion. What's next in the community development? I don't know what. So let's say we get this form finished. Now we have this database and it's getting refined as we go. That's another tool in our tool belt. The sessions show, where we have a focus of 3 topics, that's another tool in our tool belt. What else can we do to build the tribe up? I know I've talked about events and stuff, but like what else can we do here?
I think community engagement is going to be huge for growing and actually getting a sense of tribe. I guess I don't know if that's the best way to put that. But, we have this form. People can join the Facebook group, get their info into this Microsoft form. But how do we actually get them involved? Other than, if you're a viewer watching the show, that's great. But how can we get them involved is kind of what I'm thinking. Whether that's having someone from the tribe do, maybe we set up other shows for that too, going over, I know you mentioned doing sessions with people, kind of going over their interests, what they're interested in, and that's how you're able to get some type of community engagement. I know if I'm watching a YouTube video and I feel compelled to comment something and that person comments back, I'm like, gosh, now I'm really going to watch your videos, and now I'm really going to pay attention because you spent however long it took, 30 seconds, a minute, to respond to me, make me feel like, oh yeah, you actually acknowledge that I'm here watching. So what can we do to have our tribe get that same sense of community within us as well? So that's what I'm trying to think of as well. What can we do to convey that they are part of this? It's just not two people, or sometimes three of us hopping on a show one day a week. How can we actually work together? Whether it's offering advice on projects people are working on, or just having general discussions. I mean, I think there's a lot of different ways we can go with that. What are your thoughts?
Well, we have Saturday sessions right now. Like I said, that's one tool. We have the form and the database. That's another tool. I think objectives and matters is a framework and something that I want to make part of the creative tech mentality, and something that we focus on. Like, instead of saying, hey, let's do project updates, let's start using the terminology and start building our lexicon out, so the ethos of the creative tech starts to take form. So I want to start using objectives for that portion of the show, where we catch up on objectives, and how I broke it down. That was kind of a breakthrough that I had earlier when I was explaining to you, because I wanted you to tell me some of your personal versus your professional, and that I came up with the term internal objectives versus external objectives. And I'm going to be able to take that to work when I'm doing a session with my actual business clients, where I'm talking to executives saying, with objectives, just like with the MTP helping you with your work-life balance, we all have objectives and matters for work, but we also have objectives for personal life. And understanding the difference in how we deal with objectives and matters, when we start framing it for both personal and internal and external objectives, we can also go into working with our teams that work with each other, because these objectives and their objectives, come together, like, because we have different departments. We have something called the admin pipeline, where every department has a list of objectives, the ones that are actually active, the ones that they want to have happen in their business, and we put them all together in one big, huge list of objectives. We call that the admin pipeline, where a company works on these things internally. That's what Icora does as far as helping transformation within a business. You can't get everybody in a company to effectively work on the mission if they're all working in siloed ways. When a company has a project to take on and they have hard ways of communicating, getting everybody on the same page for that project that's going to affect everybody, that's a problem. The company should already have some kind of centralized system that they work for change management for the company internally. So objectives and matters, I'm developing those in the business world, and these practices are holistic, and you can take those to your individual personal frameworks and use these systems to better your life. So that's why I'm asking, what's the future development of the creative tech as we move forward? How do we help people do these things and solve their missions and take care of objectives and matters? So objectives and matters is another tool belt. That's something I want to start interjecting in here quite a bit. And if you look at our agenda today, or our agenda template, when we get to this portion of the show where we take a few minutes to talk about the community development, which I know we've taken probably about 10 to 15 minutes to talk about this, which we need to get back on track. We have 10 minutes left and about 30 minutes worth of show left. So we got to get through this. We're off track big time for time, but that's okay. I think we're having a good session. Basically, the spotlight videos, abso-fucking-lutely, those right there are going to be big game changers for us when we start spotlighting creative techs, when we start spotlighting some of the technology that we use, when we start highlighting a practice. Like, there's so many different things we can spotlight, but I want to find a good, like, every quarter we should do a spotlight on a person, on a hardware, and on a software, or something along those lines. Maybe even throw in a leadership type or workforce type spotlight video in there on a practice around a working framework of some sort. So those are things that these are all part of the conversation. Taking way too much time. We're going to move on to the next topic now, which is innovation. So did you have anything else to throw out there about the community before we move on?
No, I think you pretty much had everything that we were both kind of talking about before the show and kind of offline too, is like, how can we get that community engagement? And I think you pretty much touched on everything that we're working towards right now, like the spotlight videos, and actually coming up with a process and a schedule for that is going to be huge. So,
Yep. So innovation. If we look at back when we were talking about like Galileo and the telescope, Astronomy was huge back then. When the Mayans were doing what they were doing without the technology from the Western civilization, and when the Western civilization saw how advanced these guys were with the math they were using, the way they were doing things, and they started trying to find out ways to get depth and things of that nature, and then started using glass and came up with a telescope to see the stars better. I mean, these were all breakthroughs because somebody had a vision and saw a problem and they needed to solve that problem. To me, that's what innovation is. Did you hear how Google AdWords or AdSense was created?
No, I haven't heard that story.
Yeah, somebody apparently somebody that worked at Google's as they were creating their search engine, they went to Google, they typed in parachutes, and all the ads that came up were for lawnmowers, for just the most random shit, nothing to do with parachutes. So when somebody did a Google search on parachutes, and you would get a bunch of great results for parachutes in the listings, but the ads were not around parachutes. The ads that showed up were just whoever was paying the most at the time on the back end of, they wanted a way. Now, if somebody was searching for parachutes and they got the Google results, the ads should also be ads relevant to what the person is searching for. That was the thing. There was a time when you were on the internet and those two things did not match up.
Wow. I didn't know
and
that.
Nobody even thought about it. Nobody even cared. It was just part of nature of the beast. And somebody at Google back in early 2000s, before Google AdSense was a thing, went to the engineering room. He printed out a screenshot of, typed in parachutes, got all these great results, but all the ads everywhere were just not on point, not relevant whatsoever. He walked in there, put it on the engineer's board, said, he didn't take it to a team or committee to figure out. He took it to the guys that solve problems, to the engineers, threw it up on a board, on a big board, and said, "This is ugly. Fix it." Walked out of the room. Everybody else sat there and looked at it and started coming with ideas and went home for the night, except for one guy stayed there until the next morning, came up with the concept for AdSense, and that's how AdSense was born. So innovation comes from knowing what the problem is, who solves the problem, and getting it clearly understood what the problem is and getting it fixed. To me, that's what innovation is. And finding ways to solve problems that not so much cut corners, but cuts fat, gets rid of the unnecessary things. You need a little bit of fat, but not too much.
From the fat, yep.
So if we look at how we innovate today, with AI coming out right now, it's such a new technology, people are going crazy. And it's not because of things that people can do with it right now. I mean, there are some crazy things they do with it right now. People are going crazy because they're seeing the potential of the things that can come down the pipeline with it, if it is not regulated and controlled to some degree. And the people that are in the boardrooms making decisions right now without legislation in place to protect people, and with them releasing this stuff so fast, the dangers are already out here. But also, the innovation is already off the fucking charts. It's going crazy. You can't have innovation without, there's going to be people that get it, that understand it, and they just don't care. They want to cut corners. Not fat. They want to cut corners. And when you cut corners, you don't just cut fat, you also cut off important pieces that are needed. So to me, it's important that you understand truly who you are and what you want to do, and don't use these technologies to come up with ideas. They help you harness your ideas and empower you to execute on your ideas. So how are you innovating right now? Like, what is innovation to you? Like how do you see innovation with technology today and creative techs? How are we responsible for innovation?
I think you kind of touched on, instead of just relying on ChatGPT, say you're someone who's like, what do I do with my life? I'm going to ask AI. AI is going to tell me what I should do. You can't just rely on AI to tell you what you should be doing at all times, how you're going to make, say you want to make $1 million. I'm going to ask AI how to make $1 million. No, you should have your own thoughts, your own. AI is not going to be able to look at your profile. I mean, it is getting better. You can tell them what your interests are. I'm sure it'll give you plenty of good things out there. However, you just need to use it as a tool to help you execute. And that's the biggest thing. Instead of, you can use it for ideation and everything like that to get some ideas spurred, but you have to have some type of framework set up and some type of idea of what you want to execute on. Then you use the tools of AI to actually make it happen. Whether you decide, I've decided I want to do YouTube videos. These are the things I want to touch on. Maybe I want to do a product review. Okay, that's something you've came up on your own. That's an idea you've had. That's something you're passionate about. So you can use AI to help you, can you help me put together a shot list from different, focal lengths between a script, maybe some things you want to touch on. And that's all great. But instead of just approaching AI and saying, okay, I'm starting a YouTube channel, give me ideas, because if you're not passionate about it yourself, you're not going to be able to make it happen, even with the help of AI. So it should be used as a tool to help you execute rather than just relying solely on AI to do your job for you. And, maybe a few years from now, it will be doing people's jobs. I mean, I know it already is now, how advanced it's getting. We were laughing at it maybe a year ago that, was it Michael Jordan video, or there's some video AI generated. People are like, this is not going to get anywhere. And then just as soon as
Sora, well, that's in its infancy, right?
Do what?
That's AI in its infancy.
Right.
That's like saying, oh, look at that baby, he can't even walk. That thing's never going to win a race. Okay. Sure. For everything going on in the world, so many people want to make change and do things, and I get protesting these things. I want to get out there. I want to say something. I have changes I want to see happen in the world, and I cannot get bogged down by going out there and trying to do something. I'm one person. I can't do shit right now, but if I work hard and I build a tribe where I have a tribe that respects the work that I've done and sees that, not only did I transform my life from being an addict and nearly being homeless and just not having anything to, becoming successful, going through that transformation was not easy. I was, going through abuse and things of that nature as an adult. These are things that can happen when you have traumatic things happening to you and you don't feel worthy of anything. People will crush your innovation. People will crush your ability to do things because you're in your own head. You're feeling like you're worthless and not capable of doing things. I'm telling you that once you have a mission and you start making decisions to get that mission done, transformation takes time. Whether it takes a year, 10 years is on each one of us in the circles we allow, the boundaries we put up and allow ourselves to interact with. So, the more I want to help people, the more I look into this, the more I grow, the more I want to help others. So that's why I'm doing all this. So, I'm kind of starting to break off from innovation, and I want to make the segue of innovation and how things can stop innovation, especially in the workplace. Really stupid rules and bad culture in a workplace will kill innovation. And if you allow people to enjoy coming to work, give them very clear expectations, make sure you make their jobs easy for them as leaders and managers. Our job is to make sure that as people come into work, that they're able to sit down, do or come to their workplace or work from home, do what they need to do, and they have everything they need to do it, and they can do it easily and clearly, and expectations are set, and we review them, we give them feedback when they do well, we give them criticism and coach them when they're going against the grain, and we, as leaders, that's what our job is. And if we do not take care of our people and our workspaces and our workforce, if as modern day leaders, as creative techs, we're not taking care of those around us, even as a follower within an organization, you have a responsibility to do these things. It's all of our responsibility to do these things. If you're not part of the mission, if you're not part of the team, innovation's killing. And when leadership is alienating people from being a part of that mission and part of that team, that's cancer. That's death within an organization. That's death to innovation. So I've lived that. I on a personal, on an internal and external level, felt like I've been, I guess, suppressed or whatever the fucking word is I'm looking for, to the point to where innovation just stops. Drug addiction, things of that nature. Your focus is not, you don't have a mission. So influence, we all have an influence. If you have a solid mission, it's so easy to influence people. And if your mission is great and you care about those that are helping you with your mission, and you make it to where they can innovate clearly, and you leave room for people to give their ideas, oh my God, the magic that can happen. Anyway, I feel like we're over time right now. I'm trying to squeeze the last topic in here, which is influence. I still feel like we had a great session, even though it's over. We got to cut the board. We got to stop it at an hour. So we're wrapping up. What do you think? How? I mean, again, I know we talked about changing the format. I think the format needs to stay. We need to get good at doing the format. We need more. If this show description would have been written last Saturday, we would have had time to talk about it, make sure we had our talking points for the last week, instead of me doing it this morning and then us talking about it for 30 minutes before the show while we're preparing for the show. But if we were preparing, the Delta would be so much better. I need to get ahead of the curve. I need to take today, rest of today, and just get next week's show done. At least the focus and topics, and get the description out there and schedule it on the get the studio ready and StreamYard, so that way next week when we start, we've already had the agenda done. We've talked about it through the week, and we've got all the topics in there. In fact, that next Saturday, I'll be working on the next week's episode. Now we're a week ahead, and we just keep that momentum going.
Yeah, I think that's really important, setting aside. That's the biggest we've ran into, is just setting aside time before the shows to actually get together, talk about the topics, instead of rushing around, Saturday morning to think about it. But that's just part of the Delta, like you keep mentioning, is we're still figuring things out. The first few episodes, I think my camera went out a couple times, technical difficulties. Now we're kind of progressing past that, and now we can actually focus on the content, which is the most important thing. Whereas before we were focusing on just having a polished show. So yeah, I mean, the Delta's huge. I'd even say from today, as opposed to the first show, the Delta's huge already.
Oh yeah.
So, it's a work in progress. Rome wasn't built in a day, so it just takes time. And, if we set up those calls and, like we talked yesterday for over an hour, you, Will, and I, and we're like, man, we should have just streamed this. And it was still important. We're able to go over some topics, come up with some ideas for future shows. And now we're able to actually execute it on them better instead of doing everything, in a few hours. But that's the same thing with anything. The more time you put to it, I forget what the number is for you to become a pro at something, or I don't know what the term is, an expert at something, 10,000 hours or whatever it may be. But we're working towards it, and we're going to come up with better plans to actually get the ideas out sooner. So I think it's really important, but I think today's show went really well.
Yeah. Gary V, you know who that is, right? Sure. Is he in our list? I don't know if he's in our actual list of people. Did I add him in here? If not, I need to add him because he should be in here. And the reason why I think he should be in here is because I love his concept of don't create, documents. And I love that because I totally get what he's saying. This show is us building this thing, and our content needs to be us showing everybody us building this thing. That's us documenting what we're doing, and by documenting what we're doing and us showing that, we don't have to create content because we're showing what we're doing. So don't create content, document. Yeah, I love that, and I'm using that right now with my clients. Like right now, I have a client that does regular LinkedIn and Facebook posts on a regular. They're good posts. They're great stories and articles that align with what the business does, but it's not them showing them. They're just rehashing other brands' shit through their name. It associates them. I'm not saying there's all cons, but if they would just throw in a mix of a picture of them at a show when they talk about the show, as opposed to just saying, hey, look at this show, we're out there, I hope to see you guys there. No, let's see you at the show, walking around talking to people, just a picture of you at the show, and write a little something as if it's coming from the marketing team there, and let them know that you guys are at the show and hope to see you there. Like, there's little things you can do to make it more authentic and to make it you, not you talking about somebody else's shit, but it's you. And that's the difference between creating content and documentation. And I'm really, for identity for a business, the internal and external communications, how they work with their teams internally, how they work with people externally, that's my main focus. And yeah, I really like the way Icora is going in a direction where we're helping businesses at that very high level with their internal external communications. And by creating creative tech, where we're going to have so many great people that align with what we do. And I'm excited to see where we go once we get that tribe built and start seeing people come. I envision some very powerful, amazing, creative people that want to be a part of this. Like people that we are actually like imagine Potato Jet being like, hey, this is a really cool concept. Yeah, like I really like what I do, and it's hard to find other people that talk about, because I guarantee with him on his grind, he deals with a lot of other creators out there that want to do what he does, and he sees them all trying, and he sees all the things they're doing wrong because they all don't know what it is they're trying to do or what they are. He's always been authentic with, I love cameras, I love filmmaking, I've been doing, look at all these films I made as a kid. He has his mission. He knows what he loves. He is making it happen. He's making plans with the people around him and getting people around him to systematically work. Hey, when I do this talking cane, can you edit the video just like this for me? Let's make that thing. And they've been doing that for years. Now they got somebody else coming in helping with this, and like those systems to get people to work together. Or do you guys just sit around, get high, and play video games? Like, what does you and your tribe look like? Because this tribe here runs like Potato Jet in his little circle, or Peter McKinnon in his little circle. Like, imagine all those little circles getting together and making one big, huge circle. What would that huge circle of people look like? Go to any YouTube event. That's what it would probably look like.
Absolutely. Those are all great examples.
Yep. All right. Well, cool. I appreciate it, man.
Yep. Glad I was able to make it this week. So absolutely. We will we'll be here next week, everybody. We appreciate you coming. Remember, go to the Creative Tech Facebook group and sign up if you like. That's where we'll be sharing the link to the form that we want everybody to fill out. Get your stuff into the database. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where we're going to do spotlights and everything else as we grow this thing out. Twitch, sign up and subscribe on Twitch if that's where you're at. LinkedIn, if you're purely for business and you want to focus on the external professional side of things, check us out on LinkedIn. We can communicate there. We're going to start. I really do feel like, if I make the jump and actually start paying the $70 a month for LinkedIn Premium, $70 a month, dude. That's steep.
Anyway,
it is steep.
We're gonna try it out for a minute, see what happens. But yeah, we appreciate everybody. We'll see you guys here next week. Keep it heavy, keep it real, and peace.